What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's another edition of the Countdown to the Geekcast. My name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me on this week's live stream is one and only Retro Ray. This
What's going
way.
on, guys? Hey, what about them Lions?
Oh
No, I was
God.
kidding.
Oh God. We're not allowed to talk football anymore ever since the Cowboys, like week 3. Football was dead after that. Not even gonna bother with it. Don't bring it up anymore. There's always next year. Always next year, sir.
Yes,
We got a
there is.
great show for you guys. We got another special movie giveaway. This time it's for the action thriller Den of Thieves 2, which I saw the first one this week just to kind of prepare for this next film. And I got to tell you, I enjoyed the heck out of it. So later on in the stream, we're going to be giving away passes, random engagement passes. So these are it's a code you'll redeem for tickets when the movie drops, and it's for San Antonio and Houston followers. So if you're in the San Antonio or Houston areas or surrounding areas, that giveaway will be coming up later on in the show. And most importantly, we're going to be talking with stunt performer Jenna Hellmuth, who has been on some of the biggest projects this year. You've seen her in Terrifier 3, which is a smash hit. She was on Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. You guys know how I feel about Ghostbusters. And she was also the stunt double for Kristen Milioti on The Penguin. Generally, on the show, we do geeky weekly headlines. This is going to be a very fast version of that because I definitely want to get Jenna in here as soon as possible. So, real quick, just a couple of headlines, really fast. Number one, Tom Holland and Zendaya are engaged. Congrats to them. If they make it, they'll be the only Peter Parker um, girlfriend movie couple that actually made it because all the other ones dated too, but they didn't last. So I hope they actually do make it. So good luck to them. Also, and if you, in case you were on Instagram earlier, something really strange was released by Will Smith. So he went to Instagram and he shared a very sort of cryptic post, and this is what it is right here. It says, in 1997, let's see here. In 1997, the Wachowskis offered Will Smith the role of Neo from The Matrix. Will turned it down. He chose Wild Wild West. We all know how that turned out. Believing it was a better fit for him at the time, the question remains: what would The Matrix have been like with Will Smith as Neo? This, of course, sent the social media into a frenzy. Is there a new movie coming out? Is Will Smith going to play the lead? Are they going to reboot The Matrix? We have the answer for you, folks. None of those things. So there's no new movie in the works. No, Will Smith is not joining the Matrix franchise. This is all related to a brand new music project that Will Smith has coming out. More details are going to be coming soon, but he did what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to drum up some sort of publicity, and we will find out what it's more details about it pretty soon. But in case anybody was wondering, because we had posted and talked about it as well, no. Will Smith is not joining the Matrix franchise, and all you guys can settle down now because everybody was like, "No, he's gonna do horrible and stuff," and it's like, no, it's not what it is. Let's see. Is that pretty much it for us? Congrats to all the Golden Globe winners from last night's Golden Globes. A few of them we've had lucky chance of meeting in the past. Sebastian Stan was a big winner yesterday. We'll talk to Jenna about her role on The Penguin and how she helped that show, but also Colin Farrell was a big winner last night. So for more list of the winners who come from television shows and franchises that we talk about every week, you can go to our Facebook page and scroll through the posts. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get our special guest of the night. She is, as I already mentioned, a fantastic stunt performer, an actress, also a firefighter in the New York City area. She is Jenna Hellmuth. Jenna, how are you?
Hey, what's up? How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be a lot of fun because we've already talked a little bit backstage. You are a part of some of our favorite projects from 2024, and so we can't wait to kind of dive into a few of the things. And you're also here because we recently talked to Bobby, who worked on Terrifier 3, who was the stunt double for Art the Clown, and you were the stunt double for Lauren. And so we loved hearing the stories from Bobby, and you and him got a chance to kind of uh, do a few choreographed fight scenes, and things got really intense. And it was a whole mess because you guys are just covered in like gallons of blood everywhere. So why don't we go ahead and talk about Terrifier 3? First off, tell us how you got involved with the project.
Well, I doubled Lauren in Terrifier 2.
Mm.
And so I was on Terrifier 2. And I also doubled Leah Voicey, who was the cafe clown who gets caught on fire.
Oh,
So for that movie, Lauren did like 99% of her own stunts, all the fighting, all the her getting thrown over like the dressers and going into the water and all this stuff. That was like all her. There's like a really short scene where she kind of falls through a grave, and it's like it ended up, it was like a 2-story fall into from the grave, which it was a barn in upstate New York. And so I fell from the top story of the barn into the barn, basically from the rafters. And
Oh my gosh.
that was my contribution for Lauren then. And it was still like kind of really indie horror. I think that one was all done by like Indiegogo, and like a lot of the people on set were people who had like contributed and who just wanted to be extras getting killed by Art the Clown, which it's so strange sometimes, like going from like a Law and Order show or like Blue Bloods, and then like going to something like that where it's like it's so cool because people are so passionate about what's happening on set, and everybody just wants to be there. It sounds terrible, but that like everybody really wants to make this piece of art. So it was so cool. I had watched the first movie. I'd seen Terrifier, and when I saw David come out for the first time, and by the way, it was freezing. It was February 2020. It was a barn. It was not heated. There was one costume, so me and Lauren had to swap of these costumes, which they were like at that point holding together by like tape. The poor costumer was like, I guess they had it built by somebody else, and there was some kind of I don't know, but like they weren't dealing with that guy anymore, so they were literally just trying to keep this costume together until the end, and so they had to put it on me, and swap around. And I did the clown lady, so that was like 2 days of shooting back in February 2020, and then it didn't come out for a while. I didn't really think about it, and then it went absolutely insane. Everybody went crazy for it, which, thank you for that one guy that threw up in the theater, because that set it off. No one was really talking about Terrifier 2 until somebody threw up, and then it was like the best viral marketing we could have never, like, nobody planned that, like I don't think it wasn't until, the last time I saw viral marketing that good was like the Joker movie, the Dark Knight, when they did like that phone thing. Did you guys remember that? I was
Yes.
that happened.
Yes.
Do you remember that? Like they put out phone numbers, and you had to go to a bakery, and you would call they would give you a cake that had a phone number on it, and you'd call the number, and then the cake would start ringing.
Oh gosh, no! I thought you were talking about they had sort of the crypto codes, and you had to crack those, and it take you to a website, and then you have to like kind of battle the Riddler and his riddles and stuff. And it was really cool viral marketing, and I got really into it, and everybody was trying to figure out the answers, and it kind of gave people like an inside behind the scenes look on the movie. But yeah, no, I think it's great. It was terrific marketing for Terrifier for sure.
Oh, I mean, amazing. So that was it. It blew up, and then Drew Leary is the stunt coordinator for Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3, and he called me again, and he said, you're gonna do a third one. I said, okay, let's do this. All right, and they really stepped up the game. I was there with Bobby and Lauren and David for a week shooting in that house. I think it was way out in Long Island. It was pretty far out there, but it was it was such a cool experience because we got to spend more time with everybody. Obviously, stunt people, usually you're doing like a day or two, so to get a whole week with the crew and to see everybody, really on their game and doing what they love, it's really cool to be a part of for that long.
Yeah, definitely. And you had some, like I mentioned, you had a really great sort of fight scene towards the final act. Spoilers if you haven't seen Terrifier 3, but you guys have had your chance. It's been in theaters twice already. You had this really great fight scene with Art the Clown, aka Bobby, in the final act. And if I remember correctly, Art had to either throw you a few times, and one of those times you had to like crash through a table that was like kind of solid or something. Bobby had mentioned something about it being like a really difficult scene, but he really like chunked you and you just sold it perfectly. So tell us a little bit about those stories, like either one or two of the action sequences or sort of the movements that like really stuck out or were really challenging to pull off, but you guys did a fantastic job of getting it done.
Thank you. But yes, so that scene specifically of going through the table was me, but literally all the fighting. I don't know if you knew this. Lauren is an incredible martial artist. She is I think she does kung fu is her style. I'm not sure about that, but she does all of her fight scenes, and I'm literally just there to kind of facilitate because at that point, I mean, actors go through insane amounts of stress. To have to act upset and like your life is on the line is a stressful act on your body alone. And
Sure.
then to make her, she loves to do it. She's always like, Jenna, let me do this. I'm like, all right, go ahead, Lauren. Go girl. She's like so game all the time. And she's like, she loves to do the fight scenes, and I have to be like, I'll be like, Lauren, you good? Be like, girl, like you need some water, okay? Just chill out for a second, calm down, because she's so good. So really, all the fight scenes are all Lauren just like knocking it out of the park with her like absolutely amazing, facial expression and like her absolutely awesome choreography. It's top notch, but anything that's like her getting ripped down or thrown or where Bobby like picks me up and slams me in the kitchen, it's like that's all the hurting is me. I'm the pain devil. So that specific thing is he was supposed to throw her over the couch and into this breakaway table. With breakaways, it's tough because you only have so many breakaways. You only get 1 or 2 shots, maybe, if you're lucky. And we kind of did the setup where he like does the start of the throw, and we had like a pad there, and I just go over the couch, and then you kind of rehearse as much as you can. But then the couch was like really tall for me. Even it was like probably up to to like a little below my chest. So I really had to jump to get over there, and Bobby was like, do you want me to give you a little I said, yeah, give me something. Oh, my camera or my light, sorry. Let's see if it'll go back on. You gotta have natural lighting, sorry about that.
It's all good.
So yeah, he just gives me a good chuck, and we kind of talked over like, oh, it's kind of like a B twist. You just jump over and you have to like do a quick rotation into the table. And we did you love it when you see it. A one and done is what we call it. Thank you. Yeah. So we did the one and done, and I like landed literally right in the center of the table. They had, I think, 2 cameras at that point. So they said Damien is also really, really good at knowing when he gets a shot. He's not a director that wants to keep going and going and going and going and going. When he sees it, I think he edits the movie as well. So he's already in that mindset while he's shooting of like, how is this going to edit together and how am I going to work this out? So when you work with a director like that, oh my God, it's amazing because you're not doing the stunt 500 times. You know, at the end, You're like, my man, it's not getting any better. It's going to get worse. It only goes worse.
Yeah. It gets exhausting, right? You're kind of losing your motivation. You're getting lethargic doing it over and over again.
There's only so many times you can slam yourself on the ground when you're like, my body is saying, no, don't do that anymore, please. There's no more spots that aren't bruised that I can hit. I have to start landing on the other side if you want to see me do this again.
Oh my gosh.
But, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it was that one was cool, and then the body slam was great. In the very beginning, here's one of my favorite stories. In the very beginning, she gets like pulled down the stairs, and we had kind of done a few shots of like swapping me and Bobby with Lauren and David. So this particular shot, I had already like gone down the stairs, and I like rotated over, and then I was supposed to like kick, Art, but the shot was from basically here, so it's just the side of my head and seeing David's face. And I saw Terrifier 1, and when I saw him on set the first time on Terrifier 2, I like definitely had to like, ooh, he is a scary looking dude, and he's like 6'5", he's gigantic, and thin, and his prosthetics and the teeth and the eyes, like when you just turn around and you see Art the Clown standing in the room with you, you're like, ooh, no thanks. He's super creepy. And David is the most not creepy guy in the entire world. He's like the drama friend that you had in high school, like he's like coming down the stairs like in a Looney Tunes voice, like dancing like this. And then, he gets in the spot where he had to like, be over me. And, he's like, and then they're like, okay, ready. And he goes, and I go, oh, no. And he starts laughing, and I start laughing because he's so creepy sometimes. And so that happened at least 3 times where, he would get into place, he'd be acting like himself, which is like so sweet and funny, and then they'd be like, all right, ready. And he'd turn on the face. And each time I'd be like, ooh. No.
Oh my gosh.
That's a lot.
Not only that, but he also doesn't say anything. He doesn't like make any sound, so it just makes him even more sort of terrifying, that, no pun intended, that he doesn't actually do anything vocally or make any noise of any kind. And that to me makes it even scarier. And so I can imagine just being around him on set is just challenging in itself. But
it's
funny,
and then when he's David, it's not, because he's always joking and like having a good time. So it's like when it's David, like, oh yeah, that's David. And then when he ready, and you see that like that face like turn and his eyes narrow, it's like he's got so many prosthetics on, and you can still see the like change in his face that you're like, ooh, this, I would not want to get killed by you. No. So yeah,
wow.
David, is another one that like them together is so fantastic to watch in person. So like I said, it was so cool to be on set, and just everybody on the set was like so cool to be around. I think I told someone else this, but Damien is also just an incredible director. When I got there the first day, I was there before anyone else. It's a house in Long Island. I don't even know if I'm in the right spot, right? And I throw down my stunt bag. I kind of like walk into this house. I don't like, there's no crafty setup. There's nobody really there. And I think I'm like trespassing. And I open this door, and it's the living room. You know, there's a tree with a head on it and like intestines. There's like a guy hanging in a cross without a head, and his intestines are. There's like a lady with like completely disemboweled and disgusting looking, and it's like that scene from I think Ace Ventura 2. You know, when he walks in, he's like, oh, and then in the center of the room is Damien sitting in a chair meditating.
Oh wow!
I was like, I luckily had met him before in Terrifier 2, and I went, Damien, what the fuck, dude? And he was so sweet. He's like, yeah, I just, I like to start my day off with a little meditation and get everything, before we start the day.
That is wild.
There's something wrong with you, dude. I think you got something going on.
Oh my gosh.
That's great.
Do me a quick favor, Jenna. We're gonna ask you about how you got started into like stunt work altogether, but I want to see if we can reset your camera just by like quickly jumping out of the stream and jumping back in,
Okay.
just because it got a little less quality though for a second. So
All right.
just hop right out, use the same way you got back in, and let's see if that kind of corrects it all.
Okay.
That's still crazy, man. To walk into a house. What would you do, Ted?
I would first I'd be like, well, I'm in the right place. And then I would be like, dude, this is insane, just the way they made everything look and all that stuff.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, that's an actual house. That's still crazy. I would thought it would have been a set. I didn't actually know it was an actual physical house.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
It was one of the art directors. I don't know if it was like his house or his dad's house. It was something. But like that's like how it is though. Like everybody is just so willing to do whatever it takes to make these movies. So it's so cool sometimes, it's like it's just so different from being on a studio set, doing Elsbeth or whatever the new procedural show is in New York. It's like it's completely different. So it's a nice breath of fresh air to see people like really, really care about what they're doing.
Well, I mean, you do a lot of procedurals too, right? I mean, you're talking about, you've done Law and Order, you said, and all that. Especially now that you're in New York, you kind of have that the doors are open more.
Yes. So, we talked about what do you do if you want to be a stunt person, right? Like my first statement to anybody who asks me that is you gotta be in a place that's making stuff. If you don't want to make your own movies and make your own stuff, which is like Bobby did that. He does it so good. He like that's a different route. But if you want to do stunts, you have to be where films are being made. You have to be in LA or New York or I think Atlanta is a big place now. But one of these spots has to happen if you really want to make it a career. That it's a necessity. You can't really be an Oklahoma stunt guy. I'm gonna get so much shit for that because I'm sure there's some guy that lives in Oklahoma as a stunt guy. But you're gonna get every job in Oklahoma. Don't worry. But that's maybe one job a year. If you really want to make it your thing, you have to go where the stuff is. Maybe Vancouver if you can work as a Canadian. Oh man, that'd be great. So much stuff gets shot there.
Yeah, you're not kidding. There's a ton of stuff up there.
That's number one. You have to live in the spot. Unfortunately, it's the most expensive places to live, but you make it work,
Absolutely. And so specifically for you, we always love asking folks, especially stunt workers and stunt performers, what is the story behind how you sort of fell into stunt work? A lot of times it's just either happenstance or right place, right time. It wasn't really something that you always thought about doing, but specifically for you, what led you to getting in this line of work?
So the joke answer that I always tell people is that I had 2 older brothers, and so I was always getting beat up anyway, and I was always faking crying for my mom, like, oh, like, you hit me. But the real answer is that I loved telling stories, and I figured out early on, luckily, through a weird timeline, that I can use my body to tell stories. One of my first jobs out of high school was I worked at Universal Studios as Woody Woodpecker.
Oh, wow.
And that was such a weird trip for me because you're in this suit and you are getting treated for me as a dude, as a giant male woodpecker. And so I would have to start walking like a dude. Like I had big thighs that I had. So, you kind of swing like you got something between your thighs. And, groups of people would come up to me that I would never really interact with ever, or really understand what it was like to be in this group. And they'd be like, what's up? Like, hey, Woody. And they would talk to me suddenly I was in their group. And I was like, this is so cool that they have no idea. A 20-year-old white girl is in here and sweating my ass off. But it was so cool to me that I could tell the story with my body and people got it. So for a while I was doing that. I was in the dance shows there. And so you'd have to dance like Woody Woodpecker. And then I was other characters too. I was Sam I Am. And he had a very different story with his body, and I was Rico the Penguin and Chucky Finster, all these characters that you have to tell different stories with your body. And they also had stunt shows there. And I thought that's what I really want to do. Because when I was a kid, I was always doing stupid things and thinking I could be a stunt person. So I auditioned over and over and over again, and they didn't really want me in that world. It was they saw that I was good at being Woody Woodpecker, and that's where they wanted me to be. It also got paid a lot less. I was like, let's just keep her there. But it was I wasn't getting anywhere, and I thought you know what, I kind of do want to investigate this, because for a while I was trying to do special effects makeup. That was my initial thought that I wanted to do when I grew up. And I was kind of working towards going to Joe Blasco in Orlando, and that didn't really pan out. But I was still wanted to be in movies because I really enjoyed the idea of telling stories. So a few of my friends moved to New York, and I found out there was a stunt school there. And I dropped everything, and I went to stunt school, which was 3 weeks. And wow. I came back and I said, I'm going to move to New York and I'm going to try to do that. I broke up with my long-term boyfriend at the time. We gave each other, I was I'm leaving in a year. So, I left my family. My family's still in Florida. And I went to New York because I knew exactly one stunt person in New York that I went to stunt school with. And stunts is all about networking. So that was one person more than I knew anywhere else. So that's what I did. I dropped everything and I came here, and it was hard because I had no skill, no background in gymnastics or martial arts or anything. My family was poor. So I had none of this. I had to basically start from zero from what I learned in stunt school, which isn't always the best, but it's 3 weeks of information. And, I would join martial arts gyms. I took gymnastics. I would go to SWAT training. I learned how to hold a gun. You go to parkour lessons and this lesson and learn how to scuba dive, and you learn how to do high falls. And it's just a long breadth of learning how to do everything that stunt people do, learning camera angles and how to fight on camera. It's completely different than what, Taekwondo is or what judo is. You have to, I had been into martial arts for a few years, and I started getting to the point where I was getting into higher belts, and they said, we want you to start fighting people. They were putting black belts against me and they were really hitting me. And I thought, I don't want to do this. I'm not here to hit people. I want to learn how to look like I can hit people. I want to look good hitting people, not actually do it. I don't actually like the violence part of this. So, after once I got to that point, I said, okay, well, I'm not going to do Jeet Kune Do anymore. I'm going to go and do Wushu. So that I have a lot of background in a lot of different things. The master of all trades or jack of all trades, master of none. But that helps in some ways for stunts because you really never know what it is you're going to be getting into sometimes. But it all worked out. That's like kind of my background. That's when I first started, there was no social media or uh, like promoting yourself that way. You had to do what was called hustling, which was at the time there was a website in New York called On Location Vacation that was for tourists to find out or where things were shooting that day, so you could go and try and like see the stars, like shooting Law and Order or Blue Bloods or whatever was the thing at the time. So you as a stunt person would go and find out where all these films were shooting, and you would have your headshot and resume in your hand, and you'd walk on set, and you'd have to negotiate your way in there with some chutzpah or with some smile that was so nice to the PA. And sometimes you do your background work, like you would like know, okay, it's Blue Buds, so it's going to be this coordinator. So I walk up to the PA and I go, oh, hey, is so and so here today? And they go, no. You're like, oh, can you just check the slides? I think he's here today. And you kind of like play this game of like, I know this guy. We're cool. I'm just gonna say hi. I'm not here to cause a problem. Like you kind of like have to force your way on set in the nicest way. And if you went through that, and if the stunt coordinator was on set, and if it was like a perfect time where he wasn't busy and wasn't doing something, you could be like, hi, I'm Jenna. I'm trying to do stunts. And then they would either be really nice to you or they'd be like, get out of here, kid. Go away.
That's such a New York way of like getting things done and making things happen for yourself is by you use the word hustling. That's such a New York story. You hear people who grew up in New York City and they talk about how they would get their music played on the radio, or how they would get I think not Snoop, somebody would talk about how they would get recording time in a record studio, and they would do it by hustling and making deals and working for an hour just to get time in. So yeah, that's such a New York way of hustling. And Zabrina's in the chat saying, love her determination. Yeah, you made it happen, and that's such a wild thing because you have no guarantees that this line of work is gonna happen, but you still did it, and you put in the time, and you made connections, and you networked and stuff. And so, wow, that's fantastic. It's just great hearing how you made it happen for yourself. It's wonderful.
It is a hard life, but you have to want to do it. That's the other thing. If someone says they want to be a stunt person, I said, is there anything else you want to do? Anything else? you could really do anything.
Man.
It's a lot of background work that people don't see that builds up to even just getting the first call, which so the Ghostbusters picture is up right now. Like the first call is sometimes, all right, send in your picture, and then you think, yes, I'm going to be on Ghostbusters. Yeah, this is awesome. And then, then you get a few more, well, can you like turn a little? Can you just try to make yourself look just a smidge thinner? And then you go, oh no, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And then, and then by the end, you don't have Ghostbusters. Dang it. Like, there's so many near misses of like these shows and stuff that you'll get like a call, but sometimes you don't even know. They'll just say like, hey, are you available Thursday? And you're like, yes, whatever it is. Yes, I'm always available. The way of the stunt person, I'm always available.
You look fantastic in the flight suit, and I have my own. I'm very proud of it. Part of a San Antonio charity group here, and we wear flight suits and we throw on proton packs, and we do school visits and hospital visits, and we collect toys every winter. But talk to us about just the feeling of being on a Ghostbusters set because it's massive, and I'm sure just like the Terrifier crew and the cast who are so passionate about what they're doing. I feel like Gil Keenan, Jason Reitman, the entire cast and crew of Ghostbusters is probably equally as passionate about what they're doing. So, talk to us about what it was like being on the set of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Well, first off, that's awesome to doing the charity work. That is so cool. First off, but the Ghostbusters brand is recognizable internationally.
Yeah,
you know that. To film in the car with like it was all stunt people. We didn't have any actors there. It was all stunts. That's all they did. They did second unit in New York. Everything else I think was shot in England in studios.
yeah, you're right.
But we shot like maybe 5 a.m. on Sundays. These were like on weekends. And I think it was still like kind of in the spring-ish because I remember it being kind of cold. But they tried really hard to make it so that we would not have what they call bogeys. Do you guys know what bogeys are?
No. What is a bogey?
So bogey is something you say when somebody who's not a part of the film shoot starts walking right into the middle of the set. Which this happens a lot. And when you're doing stunts, it's really bad. you really don't want any bogeys. But you'll call out bogeys so that, you don't like, you're not like trying to embarrass them or, it's like usually an accident that someone walks out. But, when they call bogey, everybody on set knows like there's somebody here that's not supposed to be here. Probably walking right in the middle of where something's going to explode in like 5 seconds. So like, let's everybody stop moving and stop shooting and we'll assess what's going on. But to do that with the car in New York City is impossible. Everybody wants to stop and take pictures. Everybody wants to walk up to the car. Everybody wants to, for the first, like, I think week or two when I was working on this, I was just a passerby, like, I was like someone just walking on the street. So to watch it from that angle is like absolutely insane because so many people, like no one knows that you're in the set. So they're just like, they're like, whatever for you. But they're like, they're obsessed. Like people are like waiting for hours and hours to still like just take a picture. So it's so fascinating to watch. And it's very hard to film that way because you're not trying to get people taking pictures of the car, so it was a very difficult shoot because there's so many people walking around. I mean, we shot near the Brooklyn Bridge. We shot there was a bunch of other days that I wasn't there too, but like we shot near Ladder 8, like the last day we were shooting at Ladder 8, I think for a week or so. And then downtown, like Soho area, which is there's an insane amount of people. So it was so cool to watch, like just how many people were obsessed. Like I didn't realize, like I love Ghostbusters. I saw the original. I didn't see any of the new movies, but I love it. And so to see that it's like that iconic is really cool. And when you start to be like, oh, this is like people are gonna really care about this movie. It's like. It's cool to be a part of, There's the movies where you're like, nobody's ever gonna see this. no one's gonna know that I was in this movie. But that was like, it's really neat, I never really done a big summer blockbuster movie. I think Spider-Man and a few other ones had been in New York, and I never seemed to get on them. But that one was really cool. It was a super fun shoot to be a part of. And to watch, like Jeremy Fry was the main stunt driver to like whip that giant car around in New York City. And that was fun to watch too, because, you get to see like your city as the background,
Wow.
It was an incredible time.
Yeah, I've been in an ecto, not nearly as nice as that one, but I've been in a replica before. And those things are massive. They weigh a few tons. And so to see what you guys were doing, 180s spins in that thing, is just like incredible. I have no idea how you guys pulled that off. It's quite fantastic. Did you have any sort of excitement when you either put the suit on for the first time or you got to ride in the car for the first time?
It was so cool. I mean, come on. It's one of those things that like there's like checklists in the stunt world that you don't even realize you have until they happen. And that was one of them where I was like, this is like one of the coolest things that I get to. I wasn't even doing anything, by the way. I was literally sitting in the car while we drove away. I was on the last day of set. I got to double McKenna. It was AC Martin every other day. She was there for like months, and I just happened to like luck out, thank the stunt gods, and like get one day on there. And yeah, it's a really cool feeling. Like it was my first time there, and like all the other stunt doubles had been there for months, so they were like, okay, last day. And I was like, yeah, guys, let's talk about this. And they're like, Jeremy doesn't like people to talk in the car. And I was like, oh yeah, all right, I'll be quiet then. It's
Wow.
hard. Okay. Then, it makes sense. He has to concentrate, He's driving a gigantic boat. But it was an incredible experience. Like I said, the only other time that I like geeked out that hard was being on the Why the Last Man show. That was like one of those ones where you're like, I love this source material, and I can't believe that I get to like forever somehow be, even if it's such a small role, but like I get to be in this world forever now. It's like, it's such a cool experience. Yeah, to put on the suit, I never thought I would do that in my life. It was really cool.
And Why the Last Man? Ray, aren't you a fan of Why the Last Man as well, the comic?
It's such a good book. Okay, the art is a little different. It's kind of like Walking Deadish. Kind of, it's not your bright colors and crazy like your DC and stuff, but the story is phenomenal. It makes you think. It opens your mind. I was so excited that it was coming, and I was like, okay, if they did what they did with Walking Dead, this is going to be a great show. We're going to get a number of seasons because the book is spread out. But no, we did not get that. But I feel her. I know what she's feeling. I was there. But I was just like, oh, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, it could get a reboot, maybe. I'm hoping. You never know. But yeah, okay, you said you were a cadet and you were there, and the scene that you were filming was when all the males died. Okay, so what was the first reaction? I'm getting excited here. So how was it just seeing like that one scene you were doing?
I'm right there with you. I was so fucking excited to be in this show. When I found out that it was coming to New York, they only shot the pilot in New York. I think everything else was shot somewhere else, which was a bummer. But I was searching everywhere. I was like, who's the coordinator? I've got to get on the show. I've got to get on the show. And it was a huge scene. We were all cadets in like, it wasn't like an American military. I think it was like supposed to be like some kind of Israeli military or something. Like it was like a weird outfit that I didn't recognize. But so like we're all standing in formation, and then all the dudes drop at one point, and the women start like what is going on, and then like there was supposed to be a CGI plane crashing because we're on like a military base. We shot for hours and hours and hours on this military, like this airfield out in Long Island. And my favorite story from that was, you start getting a little like punch crazy, after, shooting the same scene like 500 times. So my buddy, my buddy was dying next to me, and each time I would try to scare him, like, I tried to make him jump after he was dead. You see running around, you're like, so-and-so. And I'd go up to him and I'd be like, gotcha! I need you. So I had a great day. I was so happy. I was like, I thought for sure the whole shoot, the whole story was going to be shot in New York. I thought it was going to be freaking, it was like when Orange is the New Black came to New York, and I was like, yes! I was like, there's going to be so much women doing stunts. This is awesome. And then, you know, and then reality actually happens, and you're like, oh, okay, I got that one day. That was cool. And that got cut, so it's fine. But I'm right there with you. I love so many of Brian K. Vaughan's comic books.
Oh, yeah.
And I was thrilled though, because Sandman's my other like big comic book that I absolutely love. I was actually happy with that one. That one, the Netflix show did pretty good. Yeah, I'm still like, you can see I'm like like battered. I'm like I'm waiting for the second season to drop just to make sure that it wasn't a fluke. That's probably not the right way to be about it, but you know, you've been burned too many times. You gotta like. You gotta stay cool about it, you know. It's gonna be a good second season, I think, you guys.
So you're in New York. Do you attend New York Comic Con at all?
You know, I've never been to New York Comic Con. I know. I want to go every year, and I'm always surprised when it shows up because I think like, oh, I should go next year, and then I don't sign up for anything or like any notification that it's coming. And then I'm just like surprised. I don't even know like when it happens, like October. I don't know. But every time it happens, I'm like, oh, I should go to that. I used to go when I lived in Orlando. I was at MegaCon every year, like MegaCon and like Spooky Empire. I was like going to the cons all the time there. And, you know, I just don't go. I don't go anymore. I don't know. A lot of my friends that I went with are still in Orlando. So it's like, maybe it's like it's like a drug. I like to do it with those people.
Would you consider? I mean, of course, now the stunt doubles are attending conventions and doing signings. Have you done a show yet since you portrayed Lauren in Terrifier? Or do you have any plans on doing that?
Oh, you know what? Bobby got signed, I think, by some company that like gets specifically like horror icons and like does it. And I told him, I was like, dude, I'd love to go with you and go to conventions and hang out. And he was like, I'll ask him, totally. And he got back to me, and he's just like everything else, you guys. He was like, yeah, they don't seem that interested. That makes sense. Okay. No problem.
Boo.
You know, it's weird. He was saying that like that people aren't as interested in like the final girl doll of her own stunts, you know.
True,
but
that's true.
He was saying that like, you know, they're really more interested in like the Freddys, the Jasons, the, you know, the Scream guy, you know, that's like their brand. They want like the horror icons and their doubles. So that was out, but I'm open. I'd go. I would go just to hang out. I don't know. You guys go. I'll come hang out with you.
Hey, like I said, we have a couple of shows that, you know, go on here in San Antonio, but with that, you know, question about asking that, I mean, you also, I guess, you didn't really tell us the role you played in Walking Dead. Oh. So you get killed, supposedly, is what you stated, but we never got what happened. So what happens? How did you die?
Yes. So it was about like a summer or two ago. So they were shooting Fallout here in New York, and that was like everybody was getting on Fallout, and everyone was super stoked. And I had gotten a call for Fallout, and then I got a call for Walking Dead like at the same time. So I had to turn down. God. That's the stunt. That is the stunt way. You will not get work for like 2 or 3 months, and then of course they both want you on the September 3rd. You know, it's like they both, or you know, everybody wants you on one day. So you're like, fine. I had to pick one. So Walking Dead was like, we want you for like a few weeks. I said, okay, I guess I got to do this. And the producer was like, you know, you're gonna be like a character, and your death is gonna be like really intense. He like kept hyping us up like big. But we get on set, and it was like me and like 4 other stunt people, and we were a tribe of people that live in New York and have been surviving in New York. And initially the theory was we survived in New York because we dressed like the street. It was kind of a weird thought, but like, follow me here. We all wore gray, and then we would have like yellow. Like I had like a yellow hat, and like if I laid down in the street, I would look like the line.
Oh wow!
I think this was like the initial like concept that didn't. I mean, they don't. That's the thing. There's so much weird little things about so much of movies and TV that like that doesn't get addressed. Nobody talks about it. It was just like it was like the costumer's idea or somebody's idea that like just never gets brought up again. Nobody ever will know that except for now us. Now we know that my tribe was supposed to be like the asphalt tribe. Like we were supposed to lay down because people ziplined in this world. So we're this tribe. We get on set, and I think my name is Burned Woman. My friend's name is Scraggly Haired Guy. So it turns out that we're not actually characters. We're like kind of background characters, but we're like this tribe that hangs out with the main guy. I think his name was Lucas or something like that. He was like this really big jacked guy. And, you know, of course, he meets Lauren and
Lauren Cohen.
Character names. That's the worst. But they like end up coming into this tribe and like accepting them. And of course, everybody in the tribe then dies because of it. And that was always the funniest thought to me is that like this tribe's been surviving for years in New York, and then these two strangers come and it's like, yep, now you're dead. But so it was like 2 months, like a month or two of like doing background work of like us being in the background of this restaurant or in here and here. And the whole time they keep building up that we are going to have this like awesome epic death scene. It's going to be so awesome. And, you know, the ending shot was like we were supposed to get put into Madison Square Garden. And then they like, the big bad guy like releases a bunch of zombies on us in Madison Square Garden. And we had gotten a new director at the time, and he like wasn't really an action guy, and he kind of was like, all right, and those guys just get taken out by some zombies. And I look at my buddy and I said, we're gonna get taken out like a bunch of chumps. You know, like as a stunt performer, all you want to do is like fight and fall and do the cool stuff. And then when they like, you know, all your friends are zombies around you too, by the way. Like all the zombies were stunt people. So it's like, great. So my buddy Alexa, she's just gonna bite my neck and I'm gonna go down like a big chump after like a month of like being so excited that I was gonna like get to like kill some zombies and yep. So I think the coordinator saw the look in my face and he like walked over to us and he's like, all right, guys, let's throw together a quick like fight scene if we can, so we can like, try to make this cool. It's like, you know, of course it ends up, it's like 30, not even, it's like 2 seconds in the show of like, you know, like punch. And then, you know, I get taken by two zombies going backwards. My friend Seth, I think, gets another punch in and then goes down like a chump. And
oh man. Hey, at least you got killed. At least you got killed. I would love to be, you know, that's one thing I always get. I'm a big guy. You rarely see fat zombies. What's up with that? I don't understand that.
You know what? This is true. And
it makes sense.
But I think Bobby talked about this too. Like he hasn't been a zombie on there. He's like the thinnest guy around. It's true. I don't know why they do that. I have no idea. I think because the theory is that the zombies are like withering away, and like by the time, I think, how long are they into Walking Dead right now? It's like years, right?
It's been like over a decade. So early on in the show, like when the show started, the zombies are kind of thicker. They're like more human-like, even though they're zombies. And then as time progresses, there's less food. They start decaying more. That, you know, the longer they're zombies. So yes, in the show, they've been trying to keep them kind of like smaller and smaller as the shows progress. And now you're right. They're probably 10 to 15 years since the original show aired in the timeline. So yeah, the zombies are just, you know, crazy now. Although whenever they're like in a swamp or like an area with a lot of water, then the zombies are like real kind of
they bloat.
bulky and bloated and stuff. So
Yeah.
they've done that a few times like that.
That is true.
There you go. Bloat zombie. It's open. It's still there for you.
There you go. So it's
I'm too
funny.
big to play a zombie too. I don't get the call.
It's funny, and it makes so much sense though that like when you're a stunt performer, you want to just have something exciting to do, even if like your character is being killed off in a scene. Like you want it to be the biggest, badass way possible. And so it's crazy that it makes so much sense though that that's kind of what you guys are excited for. The more you get to do, the more exciting it is, or are you just kind of happy to work, or no matter what you're aiming for like the biggest moments, you're trying to up the stakes or just up the stunt every single time you do a project? Like what's the motivation behind all of that stuff?
When I was like a younger stunt performer, I was like that, where it's like I want to do the highest high fall, I want to do the biggest car crash, I want to do like a pipe ramp, I want to do, and then the thing is like you don't get to control the call that you get, and
That's
you can
true.
only practice like so many things as a person when like I said, I didn't have a background, so a lot of the beginning of my stunt years was just getting up to speed to be like a basic stunt performer, which
Wow.
it's hard enough to get there, so I think at one point I was like that. I want to do the biggest, like the badass, like I want to be the lead double, but as time goes on, you realize like I want to have no control over that. That would be cool, but you try not to keep your expectation there.
Yeah.
But also like, a lot of times when you're doubling someone, like when you're a character, it's one thing, but when you're doubling someone, like Lauren wants to do a lot of her own stunts, and I can't be like, no, I get to do your stunts. I'm the stunt. It's not like that. You don't.
Sorry, Lauren Cohen, who's been in this franchise for 2 decades.
Right.
Today.
Like she's going to make the story better by being in there because she's good at what she does. And it would be a disservice for me to do the stunt in that capacity. We don't want her to get hurt. We don't want her to like get thrown around because she's got to do like another 5 or 2, like, 5 more weeks of shooting, and she's got to still be able to handle it. But when an actress now comes to me, I used to get like, bummer, that sucks. Like I've been like training for this, lady. Like I want to do this for you, but come on. But like you understand that like you have to put away your ego sometimes because the story might be better when somebody else does it. Like I doubled Kristen, and she's an incredible actress, and she wanted to do a lot of the stuff, the stunts that she had to do. She did all the fight scene for the prison. And when I was basically just there to, like help her, when she was there for rehearsal. So we rehearsed for like a week or 2 beforehand. We like solidified what the fight was going to look like. And then, I walk her through the fight, and she talks to me about like, well, I don't like, because we are chained by wrist, by waist, and by ankles. She goes, I really want dummy, like, I don't want to have like real stuff on. I said, I don't blame you. That stuff sucks, dude. So like, I went out that night and I like bought like hand wraps and ankle wraps and like waist wraps, because I knew they're probably not going to be able to get the rubber, like the dummies in time. And she's going to want to do this. So I got to make this as comfortable for her as possible. That's my job, is like, if she needs to do this and she thinks that she's going to do it, like she thinks that she's capable, which if you saw that shot, when I saw it the first time, I thought like, we fucking nailed it. She got it like immediately. Then they made her do it again. I couldn't believe it, but I digress. But she did, like, she had a one and done. It was a perfect fight scene. She did it amazing. She crawled. The camera was following her. I mean, actors are so good at like the camera finding them and them knowing, but she nailed it. And, my job was like, have you been drinking water? Okay, how are those chains feeling? Because I know when I was doing that fight scene 2 weeks ago, I had bruises on my wrists and my ankles and my waist for like a week. So what's going on? What, can we move this in some way? Can we tape it up? So like sometimes that's your game. Like you've trained for years and years and years, and you are there to support and to make the story better. And at some point I hated that. Like I hated having to give that up. But when you start to realize that the story is the most important, like the telling of this and making sure that it's cohesive and that it's the best way that it can get done, you're like, all right, I can take it down a notch a little bit. I can let somebody else do this. I still want to do a pipe, I still want to do all this stuff, but you don't have control. You just say, I train as much as I can train, and then if I get the call, that would be awesome. But
I mean, without you helping her, I mean, you're kind of helping her to do this. So I mean, without you there to help her, I mean, she wouldn't have been able to pull it off. So
first off, she's amazing. Kristen is so sweet and amazing. She also had like a whole team there with her. Like she had a masseuse. And we had me and the masseuse and like her other other people on set were like, we were on Kristen duty, man. Like we got to make sure that this girl is okay because what they're asking her to do is intense. It was a lot for an actress to do, and she freaking nailed it. I'm kind of bummed she didn't win she got the snub,
I think she's still in the running for an Emmy. I mean, Golden Globe. Yeah, I wish she would have gotten it, but maybe the Emmys will give her that opportunity and present her with the award for best lead actress. I don't know if she'll be up for lead or supporting, but definitely she deserves an award for her performance.
Yeah, I love that haircut. I had the haircut at one point. It was great. Like the 80s like shag thing. I think it inspired me. I got a little, I got close.
There you go. We'll ask you more questions about the Penguin, but Sabrina's in the chat asking, what new stunt are you looking forward to doing? Something that you're allowed to talk about. We know that, there's certain things you're not allowed to give away just quite yet, but is there any either projects or any stunts you're allowed to discuss?
The last thing I did was on Equalizer. It wasn't too big. It was just a doubling role in a car, so it wasn't too big. I don't think I have anything else coming up so far. It's been a weird. We had like a strike about a year ago, and then Yahtzee, they were about to strike. So like, I don't know if you noticed, but like the releasing of stuff like this past year has been kind of strange for 2024. So I got nothing on the horizon. People can call me. I'm available. But you know what? I did hear that there is Terrifier 4 in the works.
Yeah.
So that would be really cool if I could get on that again. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I don't think they're ever going to stop. You know what? I did see something in your filmography called Z-Con.
Oh yeah,
and it looks like that's sort of been something in development for like almost 10 years. Is there can you talk to us about what Z-Con is about? And you probably don't know when it's going to get released because I couldn't find much on it, but are you allowed to talk about Z-Con at all? That's a deep cut question. I was on Z-Con. It was like a concept film. They were trying to get funding, and then I think they did get funding. Something wacky happened with the funding, and like fraud. Something really wacky happened with the funding. I was one of the few people who got paid initially. Wow. All the other stunt people weren't union at that point, so it was kind of a weird gray area for them. I think they all ended up getting paid. The guy who was the director has been like fighting his producer for a long time. I don't know the whole story, so I'm not giving you the exact details because I don't know. But gotcha.
He's been fighting with this guy that I think faked his own death. It's like a crazy story. It might be its own documentary at some point. But like, he's been fighting with this guy, and this director, he's like Mike Dougherty, I think. He's an amazing guy. He was really passionate about this project, and he ended up for the past 10 years has been working and paying these people that worked on his set 10 years ago, like this entire time, because the money got stolen from him in some weird way, and he couldn't pay these people, and so he's been paying people for like the past 10 years. It's like it's a crazy story. I think he's on like either an Indiegogo or something, and like I think they're trying to start ZCon back up. The problem is the kids that were the actors are all adults now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're trying to like redo it, or if they're just trying to do like some kind of cut release where it's not super finished, but he still wants the people who funded the Indiegogo to get something out of it. It's an incredible story of just like, what a good guy. I can't believe that he's gone through so much and he still like is thinking about all the people who worked on the show. It's like, it's really funny that you brought this up, but yeah, I think for that one, I fell from a t-shirt tower, and I was a zombie, a Pikachu zombie for that one. So I was dressed like Pikachu, but I had also been bitten, and I took out my friend Dan Carter.
Whoa. A Pikachu zombie. So you're a person wearing a Pikachu outfit, but you've been bitten by a zombie, and so you turn inside the suit, and so you're walking around. I mean, you can't bite anybody because you should have the suit on.
You know what? Right? It was a sexy Pikachu zombie. So
okay.
That changes everything.
That's right. It was, because it's set at a con, so everybody's in some kind of weird outfit, but also zombied out, and the kids are kind of like, I think trying to figure out what's going on at first, because it might not be too clear that the zombies have taken over. But man, that was a crazy one. What a deep cut.
I read about it, and it said something like, well, a group like ours, like a podcast or a media team, goes to a Comic-Con, and a zombie apocalypse happens, a zombie outbreak occurs, and so now they're trying to survive at this convention. And I'm just like, wow, what a wild and fantastic concept. And so I was going to make sure I brought it up to see how you were involved in stuff, but now you talked about just the challenges and the obstacles that are being faced with production. So I hope we get to see it one day. It sounds like such a fun concept.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think he's still trying, like he's still releasing updates about like getting things cut together and like getting people their rewards. Like, man, how any production happens is a whole mountain of a ordeal, but that guy, man, he went through the ringer and is still trying to do it. So I mean, that's like one of those examples of like there's nothing else you can do. You only want to make films. It's like you have to do it. Like you have to be a stunt person. There's no other option, like it's incredible to see people like that like that's the passion to make this story happen. But that was in Maryland too. That was not a New York production. Wow. That was kind of a lower budget, and I had just gotten out of working at Six Flags as a stunt performer. So that
was let's go back to the Penguin, which Colin Farrell just won a Golden Globe for his performance, which is well deserved, well earned. And Kristen, we were lucky enough to be we were lucky enough to be present in San Diego for the Penguin panel in Hall H, and so we got to see the cast. Kristen was there, and it was a wonderful time. But talk to us about just what it's like to be on a production like this, because you've been on Ghostbusters, you've been on The Walking Dead. These are very popular franchises, and now DC is going through this whole sort of rebrand, and they're putting their best foot forward with the Penguin now. And it's such a great series. It's going to win all kinds of awards during award season. But specifically, just what is the experience like either stepping onto the set or collaborating with all these folks?
Let me tell you, the first time, so I get the call of so with productions like this, they always name them something else so nobody knows what's going on, you know. So I get a call from they call him a wrangler, someone who works for the stunt coordinator. So it's like all secretive, you know. And the person goes like, "Oh, you're being considered for boss." And I said, "Okay, when can yes." Yes is the answer. And he goes, "Well, you need to come in for a fitting," which is normal. Like normally they come in and you try on, you know, whatever outfit the character that you're doubling is wearing to make sure that they have extras. I said, okay, sure, no problem. So I go to the Bronx, which they have a new studio up there, a new Steiner studio. And I go in for the fitting. And, oh, it was for this. It was for this outfit. They fit me. Like they measured every piece. They measured my arms. They measured my legs. They measured around my everything. And I was going like, this has never happened before. Normally they pull clothes off the rack and you try on the clothes and then they go yes or no.
Yeah.
And then you're done. They were like measuring me. And I was going, are you guys going to make me an outfit? And she goes, oh yeah. We're hand making all the outfits on this. And I said, you're gonna make the stunt double a whole outfit? She goes, oh yeah, everybody's getting an outfit. I said, okay. And I mean, when you walk in, it was all like super 80s and like big everything and like colorful. And I'm going like, what is going on here? And it wasn't until I started like, you know, piecing together like, oh, I think this is gonna be like something big. I had no idea. You still have no clue. And so I get on set for this day, which is, you know, they did a lot of overnights. So this was like one of the overnights. And, you know, I put on this jacket and it's literally the best fitting thing I've ever tried on in my life. It's like perfectly fit to me. It's, as you can see, freaking gorgeous. I've got this cool wig on. And, you know, they gave me this little black choker and this like see-through, there's like a see-through shirt underneath it. And I like go to the costume lady and I was like, so can I have this when this is done? Because
it's not going to fit anybody else.
It fits me. So, and she goes, oh no. She goes, this is going to go in a warehouse somewhere. This will probably be auctioned off to somebody. Or she goes, this will never see the light of day again. Or like, she's like, it will not. She's like, it does not get to be given to anyone. Like, it's not like that. I was like, damn. But like, that's how like the difference in money, one, is incredible. Like you see like, oh, they built a whole wardrobe for one Kristen. And, you know, I mean, I only got 2 outfits, as you can see. I got like the Arkham outfit and this, but like they built it. It's insane the time and effort and energy just for like stuff like that is worlds different. And so yeah, we got to for that scene, she and the Penguin are like kneeling, and then the car like comes up pretty hot, but doesn't hit them or anything. So they wanted to be like kind of in that spot. I think, you know, I can't remember I don't think we shot the real thing either. I think it was them, but they just wanted to do it a few times with the stunt, you know, driver to make sure that he's had it dialed in before we had any important people there. So the stunt double for Colin, my friend Corey, he went through just about the same amount of prosthetics, you know, dang, outfit stuff every day. Colin, I think, was way more time. I think he didn't have to do it as much. And he had told me, he said, Colin never complained, ever. And it was hours and hours and hours in the makeup chair every single day. And I mean, it's incredible. I didn't even see Colin. Like, that's how long he was in the makeup chair, like most of the time when I was on set. And then we shot Arkham, and, you know, he wasn't even close to, I think that's a flashback if I remember right. But it was a fascinating set to be on. I only was there for those 2 short times, but it's like the amount of money is different. I mean, like he drove a Maserati, you know, it's like it's a different breed of money that goes into it when it's like DC, when it's that kind of like content behind it. But another super cool one.
Yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
a long way from sharing your outfit with Lauren on the set of Terrifier 2. You're getting your own wardrobe for this short scene. That's wild. And so you
Yeah, I mean, the dichotomy of stunts sometimes is just so bizarre. You're doing such vastly different things. The stunt coordinator that was for Terrifier, he always gets me into weirdo horror movies, which I love, by the way. I love weirdo horror movies. I love doing the most bizarre things of all time, and then like later being like, oh yeah, I did that. I remember there was one where I was like the horror character, which was like this weird doll looking thing. And they hadn't even figured out, like they had just gotten the mask when I came in for the day of shooting. And they didn't really know how to make it all fit together. So they super glued the mask on my head.
oh my god.
It was like, there was no eyes. So I was blind for the whole day. And they didn't get to me that day. So I was just sitting blind for about like 16 hours or something. And then the next day I came in and they're like, okay, we're going to get you on set today. We want you to like fly. So I had like my harness on. And so, we finally get everything on. They figure out not to super glue me in, thank goodness. And then they're like, oh, but you have these arms. They're like these wooden arms. They were like as big as my arm, but they were made of wood. And they're like, okay, these are your arms. And I said, okay, how do you want me to hold them like this? Like, and they go, oh, we didn't really think about that. And so they ended up, I had to like go like this. And this is like where the character work from Universal came in. Cause this was like Rico the Penguin. I had 2 sticks. I had to go like this and they like taped them onto each arm, and then from there I flew and, it's like, it's always the horror movies that are like such strange, interesting stunts that you get to do. I was telling you about the checklist, right? Like you don't realize something's on your checklist until you do it. I realized after I did it that like running over a bridge, getting chased by a car, it's like, oh, that was definitely one of those. So, oh yeah, that was super cool. One of those like suspension bridges, and I'm like, running across.
Oh my god. That's so cool.
Wow.
What do you remember from your time working with Marvel Television? You were part of the Jessica Jones project. You're part of the Defenders project. Those shows they're trying to make some sort of a comeback and tie them into like future projects. They're bringing back Daredevil. I think they're developing Punisher. We might see a few of the other characters in like a future crossover at some point. But like Marvel Television on Netflix, especially, like I enjoyed a lot of those shows, and Jessica Jones especially. That the first like couple of seasons were just amazing. So like, what do you remember from that time and that experience working with Marvel Television?
I didn't get a lot of time on the Defenders or on Jessica Jones. Defenders, oh my gosh, that was another one I got taken out like a chump. It's like, but you don't get to choose. I get on set that day, and the coordinator I think was an out of town guy. So that's the thing too, is like when someone out of town comes in, they don't really know your skill set. They don't know what you do. So even getting on is like a big deal because they didn't really have to hire you. They don't know you. You could be a jerk,
Yeah.
And when you spend 16 hours with somebody, you hope that they're not a jerk. So I get on set that day, and I can't even remember. It was like the first episode I was on, and something happens. Either like someone gets mugged or like someone drives away, and it was me and this other guy. And he's like, "Okay, I want you guys to just run across the street." And I said, and then what? And he's like, that's it. Just run across the street like you're a couple.
Okay.
Got it, boss. Okay. So I'm running across the street on Defenders. I don't think I do anything else. And that was like, it was one of those ones. Sorry, it's anticlimax. Jessica Jones, I doubled someone. I can't remember her name. It was a long time ago, but it was some hotel room, and she like busts into the room, and I think the character was a hooker, and I like get thrown onto the bed. That was, I mean, really fascinating. Just because of the dynamic, like there was some strange dynamics on that show. You come in and you don't really know anybody and you don't know anything. So the stunt double for Jessica Jones was just kind of like, she's like, just be careful, like don't interact with anybody, like just kind of stay low. Like you're like a guest, so you're just like, whatever you say. She, the double knew a lot more about what was going on set. I had no idea. So I just kind of like got thrown onto the bed a few times and then that was it. We were done, so.
That is wild.
I mean, that's still awesome.
It's kind of like why I like the horror movies better. It's like, it's always something more interesting you get to do, or like there's always some kind of stunt that's just kind of a little more oddball than, tripping, falling, running across the street. I mean, there's so many. There is oh, hey, buddy.
Hey. Bez, right?
There was a coordinator who hired me at least 3 times to be a dead body. And by the third time I said, Mike, I can do stunts, right? I can do stunts. He's like, I know, Jenna, I know. It's okay. I was like, but it's still cool to be called. You're as a stunt person, you're never ungrateful because anytime you're on set is a good day. I mean, it's so hard to get to that point that you're like, thank God.
Well, how do you train your body? So like you mentioned being the fireman, you were 24 on, 24 off. Do you have to have a routine to keep your body prepared for something that you don't know what you're going to get? Is there something that you do every day, a routine to keep yourself prepared for it?
I try to keep it varied because like stunts is so strange. You just never know what you're going to do. So I'll usually do like running every other day, strength training every other day from that. So like strength run. And then something fun that's like working out, but not working out, rock climbing or gymnastics or, working on a form that I haven't done in a long time. I used to train a lot more the like how to fall, like, cause you have to train yourself to fall a certain way so that you don't brace yourself or land on your wrist and break your wrist. But I do that less now as an older stunt person, I'm an elder stunt person now. So, I'm not trying to take any lumps that I don't have to, if I'm falling, I'm going to fall on the mat unless I'm getting paid. I'm taking enough bruises and the chips and dents.
I can imagine.
Yeah, you just try and stay flexible and ready because you can train something 1,000 times and then you get and they're going to say, oh, you do that with a gun? And you're like, yeah, I think so. I've trained it 1,000 times. It's just a gun in my hand now. It shouldn't be much different. And then you do it. You're like, well, that's a lot different. But, so you just have to be ready for whatever they say. And that's kind of it. It's being flexible.
Nice. I mean,
Absolutely.
That's cool.
So there is something that sort of came up also on your filmography that I found really interesting. You are a part, or at least you worked on something coming up. I'm being a little bit vague here. That way I can actually pull up the picture. Here we go. You are working on, or you've worked on this new horror movie known as Screamboat Willie, which is based on the original sort of Mickey Mouse old Disney character. And I think this is one of those characters that's gone into like public domain. And so it's probably why people have jumped on it, because they've done that with Winnie the Pooh, and they've done that with other characters. And so now there's a movie coming out in 2025, Screamboat Willie. Talk to us a little bit about not anything specific, but like, did you enjoy your time working on that movie? Do you anticipate it to be as like big and gory like Terrifier, or what can you tell us about it?
So I did one night on this. it was one of those ones where Drew, the same coordinator for Terrifier, called me and said, Jenna, you're not going to believe what you're going to do next. And I said, all right, let's do it. And so what I can tell you, we shot on a decommissioned Staten Island ferry boat, which was insanely cool. It was an overnight, and there was so here's the thing. I don't know what the Screamboat Willie character looks like because I didn't see them. I think that's all I could say. But I saw like what was standing in for it. Like I don't know if they're gonna CG. I literally have no idea because sometimes they're so creative about how they shoot things that you're like, I don't even know what this is gonna look like in the end. But the thing that I saw that they had standing in for what it was horrifying. It was so. First off, I don't like little things. I don't like little aliens. I don't like things that are too small to exist walking around. And it was small and creepy. And I saw it and I was like, ooh, it was like watching David. It was like gross. I don't like that thing. And so it was super creepy. And there was a lot of blood. There was a lot of blood that night. I think that's all I could say. It was a fun stunt for me, and I think you'll probably see my face in the if it doesn't get cut. But another just such an oddball, awesome. Like it's so refreshing to get like a new story. Like it's not like I said, like run across the street or like shoot a gun and fall down. It's always fun to do something that's just so oddball. Like adds to the breadth of your your strange existence in life.
Yeah, I'm excited. These B-level horror movies like Steamboat Willie, or even those Winnie the Pooh ones, like they're there for fun. They're there because they're different, they're new, they don't take themselves too seriously. And I love horror. Ray loves horror. And so it's kind of cool to see something new and inventive. And just the poster for it looks horrific. So I can't wait to see exactly what it turns out to be. Screamboat coming 2025.
Yes.
Hopefully a small run in theaters, but probably most likely on video on demand or something.
Mm-hmm.
It would be cool if it would be at Fantastic Fest.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, we can put that out there. Let's put it out.
We would love that. We would love that for sure.
Yeah, because we go to Fantastic Fest every year and we get to see all these different type of movies, horror, sci-fi, and it's cool. You get to see movies that you didn't think of watching.
Oh yeah.
And Terrifier 3 was also presented at Fantastic Fest last year. I didn't get a chance to make it on that day, but I do know Chris Jericho, who had a small cameo in the movie, was in Austin for the entire presentation. And apparently he's a big movie buff fan because he didn't just show up for the Terrifier 3 presentation. He actually showed up super early and watched a couple of movies beforehand. And so you gotta love the guy for trying to soak in the entire film festival. That's really fantastic. And I know you weren't probably there for his scenes, but did anybody talk about how Chris did on set or how he did? Spoiler alert, sorry, for his death scenes.
No, by the time we were shooting, I think we were in the final, either the final few weeks or I don't know how many. I know I was there for a week, and then I know they definitely had the scene afterwards where I don't want to give anything away. The falling down. They had their chance. There was that, I think, afterwards, and I don't think they had much after that. That's near the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So I think people were, by the time you get to that point in a production, people are they're razor focused in on what's happening, and there's so much happening. So I didn't hear much about Chris at all or anybody else. I was surprised when I saw Ron. I was fortunate enough to go see the premiere in New York. Some people never get invited to the premiere, and me and Drew were able to go. and like Ron Howard and Tom Savini. I was like, Tom Savini, and he was like a fucking chair behind me. That's awesome. Him and Drew were talking about doing some drag horror movie. Is this my life right now? Is Tom Savini sitting right behind me right now? That was another geek out moment for sure. Like,
the legend himself. Yeah, that would be amazing to talk to that guy.
Yeah.
Especially. Do you have I know you told us earlier like you don't have any sort of big expectations or like, kind of things that you're really trying to do anymore, but is there like a franchise or just like a type of genre that you're looking to try and get into, whether it's like something more sci-fi related, like aliens related, or just another type of genre that you're looking forward to?
I mean, totally. I would. Okay. Besides like Sandman, which would be super cool, that I think
Right.
all in England, but that would be a super cool one. And this one's going to sound way out of left field, but this has been one of my favorite horror movies forever. And they've always teased that they're doing a sequel, and I would just die. Killer Clowns from Outer Space would be my dream.
Oh yes, the
My
video
dream.
game. Oh, okay. I'm a hardcore. I got to interview the main actor. I got to interview 2 of the clowns. I am a hardcore Killer Clown Out of Space fan. Yes, that would be awesome because now the budget's there, the gore. We got some killing, but not a lot. But can you imagine if we get the killing and the blood? Oh, that'd be freaking awesome. But no, this.
I don't know why it's
Killer
taking
Clowns from
this
Outer
long.
Space, my favorite horror movie of all time, and that one would be the one.
Oh, for sure. The Kyoto brothers, is that right?
Kyoto Brothers, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why it's taking this long. It feels like it's something that kind of made sense by the 90s. It should have happened already. Maybe mid 2000s, somebody should have like already taken the chance at it. We're taking the chance on like all these other franchises. I
Right.
mean, Final Destination had like 10 sequels. Saw's had like 10 sequels. We can't have one sequel for Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Like, this isn't that hard, folks.
I'm hoping that with Damien doing so well with Terrifier and like being able to take the reins of it, because from what I heard, I don't know because I'm not in the production side of things, but
sure.
The theory or what I've been hearing from this is that like he turned down big production money. Like big productions came to him and said like, we want to do this, but we get to call the shots, and he said no. And so I heard the Kyoto Brothers talk like 10 years ago when I was still living in Orlando. I went to like Spooky Empire, and I was, obsessed. And they were like hinting at doing it, but I feel like they would be the same way. Like they don't want to hand off the reins to anyone who's not going to do the series justice.
Yeah.
They don't want to like why the last man it, it's awful. I shouldn't do it. I shouldn't say that. You know what I mean? Like they always seemed really into their source material, and they always seemed like really proud of it, and I don't blame them. You can't mess up Killer Clowns from Outer Space 2. No. You can't do it.
You can't. And then oh my gosh, I'm so bad that I'm forgetting the lead character's name, the actor.
I can't remember either. I'm
Grant?
the worst with names.
Yeah, Grant Kramer.
Yes,
I even was doing a story about him, and I think he even has his own script. So he actually wrote like a fan sequel for Killer Clowns, and so I don't know if that's what the brothers might take into production, like a version of what he wrote. But he's always had this story that he would have loved for to kind of happen afterwards. And I don't remember a lot of the details in his story because he's talked about it over the years, but I just remember being excited. I think part of it involved seeing the planet they're from. And if the spaceship and their weapons is wacky, like just imagine the planet they come from and how zany that place is going to be.
I remember at that talk, the Kyoto Brothers hinted like, what happens if you eat the popcorn? And like that was like the thing that they left. Like that was like their final note, and I was like,
oh man! All right, well,
so would you
simply be a part of it?
So would you want to be one of the cotton candy with your face all
Um,
bloody?
I would want to be a clown so freaking bad.
Oh,
Like,
Shorty.
Yeah,
yeah,
you're the right size for Shorty, right?
like doing some weird walk or like having some weird character with it would be so freaking awesome. Yeah, that would be. I mean, it'd be cool to be in. I mean, anything on that movie would be absolutely insane. Like to be in a cotton candy, to be someone's head like bobbing out of something. Anything would be cool. I'm not picky, Mr. Kyoto, Mr. Brothers.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay, guys, make it happen. Killer Clowns. Get Jenna on there. Have her play Shorty. We need it. We need to see Shorty back.
That's right. Put it out there, like Fantastic Fest. We're just putting them all out there right now.
We're gonna make it happen. We're going to speak it into existence. It's gonna work out, and yeah, it's gonna be wonderful. Um, we've covered so much, and you've been so wonderful throughout this whole time, just giving us, all your stories and experiences. We absolutely love them. We talked a little bit before we started streaming. We talked to stunt people because they are the unsung heroes.
Yes.
Movies that have big action sequences, they have the stunt people in those scenes, and those are the scenes that make the movies. And it's always the lead actors that get all the praise, but it's the stunt workers putting in the time and the effort and the energy, and they're the ones walking away with the broken bones and the bruises and physical therapy that they have to go through for weeks after that. And so, folks at home, audiences, praise the stunt people for their work and efforts. They are the real reasons why some of these action movies and these big franchises are doing amazing stuff, because they're the ones putting their bodies on the line. And so we want to make sure we highlight stunt workers like you, like Bobby, a lot of folks, just to make sure that we put a spotlight on them, and we give them the time to shine and give you guys the respect and the praise that you guys deserve.
That's too kind. You're too kind, Ted.
Is there any final sort of what's it called? Anything you like to say to anyone that is ever thought about getting into stunt work? Like any final piece of advice, or what's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten for being in this profession?
It's definitely got to be that it's like anything else. It's relationships and it's trust. Stunt coordinators are only going to call you if they trust you, and you just have to. The thing that you have to do is just keep showing up and showing up and showing up and proving over and over and over again that you are, one, just trustworthy to show up on time. Like sometimes that's like the first thing that they want to see, and so it just starts from there. Just keep doing the right thing. If it's what you want to do, you can make it happen.
Absolutely. No, that's perfect, and that's fantastic. Thank you so much for again taking the time to meet with us. You've been a part of some great projects. We're looking forward to many more, including Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Let's make it happen. Let's get Jenna on that production, on that set, and have her dreams come true. But again, thank you so much for being here. Right before we leave, I know I was teasing sort of a giveaway earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat right now. If you're in the San Antonio or the Houston area, we're going to give away a bunch of pairs of passes to the Den of Thieves 2 Pantera movie, which features Gerard Butler. There's an entry form. Go fill it out. We're going to draw names later on this week. And if you're one of the lucky winners, we will email you your code to redeem for a pair of tickets for when the movie drops on Friday, January 10th. So go into the chat right now, or you can go to our website at www.countdowncitygeeks.com, and the contest is also on there as well. So good luck to folks, again, in either San Antonio or Houston. That's where we're only allowed to give away these tickets to. And so good luck to everybody, but the link is in the chat. And again, Jenna, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. Absolutely had a blast. You've been wonderful. and looking forward to many more projects from you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for letting me geek out with you. I haven't geeked out in a long time.
Pleasure's all ours. What you can say, Ray?
I said this is pretty much what we do all the time.
All the time. Thanks again for watching, everybody. We will see you guys next week. Be sure to go follow Jenna on her social media pages. She does post from time to time. She might post a little more often, though, after this. But Jenna, where can folks find you on Insta?
They can find me at Bat Out of Hellmuth.
There you go. At Bat Out of Hellmuth. HELLMUTH. Awesome. All right. Thanks again for watching, folks. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.